What's up, everybody? Hey, James Hurst here with The Marketing Show. I've got a very special guest. You may have noticed, you may have seen him before, Jacob Radcliffe. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, James? Hey, I appreciate you having me on.
Again. You're in the battle with Matt Ratliff for the most frequent guest on The Marketing Show, but you're one of the people I definitely lean on for questions of, really technical nature. We're here with HighLevel, and really this question here really drives the point home. We got a new question in the group today from Paul Mitty 2 hours ago. And he says, hey, are there any Zapier experts here? I'm creating new sub accounts. I've added some of the new features. Are there ever new features in HighLevel where there's a new affiliate manager, a new this, a new that? So like all the time, right? And so look at this. Campaigns read only, contacts enabled, triggers enabled, funnels enabled, websites enabled. I mean, there's going to be like, I don't know, 1,000 of these. This episode is sponsored by Extendly for HighLevel. If you haven't met the good folks over at Extendly, you ought to take a look and see what they have to offer. They're one of the bigger support agencies in the HighLevel space right now. So they have a snapshot store with completely crazy built-out snapshots, white label onboarding support and training, high-level dashboard customization, as well as training from the Blairs, the Academy for HighLevel, Melissa and Stephanie Blair. So I had a chance to meet Bayant in person just recently in Dallas at the SaaSpreneur event. We had a chance to get to know each other better. I've also been working with them and teaching and coaching in their Facebook group, and you may have seen some of my tips and tricks videos that I put on for them as well. So if you haven't had a chance, take a look at Extendly. Go to getextendly.com. That's getextendly.com. Now back to the show. He's saying, hey, there's some new stuff. I'm adding it here, and it's not working. And I was like, oh,
Yep.
dear. I know I've run into this myself. In fact, I have this make scenario right here, and I have this create new user for sub account. You can see I'm using the V1 API, right? And there's really not that much stuff. I mean, I only have a couple of things, and I'm just trying to get this account created and started. After I sell the thing, I can change it manually if I have to. But it really brought home the question of, hey, does everybody know that the version 1 API is like going away? They're not backdating it. All the new stuff going forward is only being put on the version 2 API. So I saw this, and I didn't even really look at that close. I was just like, oh, I think I know what this problem is. I said, it looks like you're using the old V1 API. And then I tagged you in the post, because I knew you had more experience with this. And he's like, I got the API code from the HighLevel page. I'm like, well, which one? Like, he sends a screenshot. I'm like, well, which exact one? Well, it was the stoplight. It was the stoplight page. Now, the stoplight page is the V2 API. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe it's not, maybe he is using the V2. And then it dawned on me, I was like, he's trying to do V2 API stuff on the V1 Zap. And like, that's just not going to work. And so let's see here. Let's go back here. So I was like, wait, those docs look like 2.0, but it's not that. Oh, the Zap is using the 1.0, which is what my make scenario is using. He's like, where would I update that on the Zap? Like, that just doesn't
Yep.
work like that, right? And then
Yeah,
then
it
since I
definitely
tagged
doesn't. Yeah.
you, then what did you say? Hey, V1 API is deprecated. It's going away soon. You'll never be able to flip that off on the user. Send me a DM. My apps address this when V2 is updated accordingly. That's why I'm bringing
Right.
Jacob on the show to explain, like, what's going on. V1's going away. It's not, I mean, probably the V1 API, it was good to get things off the ground, but it had some limitations. And then probably I think they're probably moving to the OAuth 2, which is like the new security standard. We don't want people, getting a hold of the less secure means and doing stuff that they shouldn't be. So I think that HighLevel is like, hey, we got to do it the better, the new standard for security, which means things are changing. 1.0 is going away. Yeah, it kind of still works, but it's old, and it's what they call deprecated. We're not updating it. So I'm going to turn the time over to Jacob now. Dude, tell us what's going on here. Tell us the solutions that you're working on coming up with. I know I've been taking a look and using some of your stuff. I know some of my other clients are using your stuff as well, but can you just like help us understand what's going on here?
So this is developers.GoHighLevel.com. And up here in the menu, you're going to see two different ones. You're going to see API docs 1 and 2. And so I'm going to just click on number 1. And I actually have number 2 open as well. And so this is the one people are traditionally used to seeing. They come here and they're like, okay, I need to create a contact. So here we go.
Or
It tells me everything I need. you
Or
know?
maybe they're not using the API like, through some app, but they're used to using it
Yeah.
like maybe through Zapier or something
Right.
else,
Yeah.
right?
So yeah, let's just say they're doing, they're copying the links, they're copying all the body, they're looking here and they're like, okay, I got my API key and I'm ready to use this API and I'm good to go.
Yeah.
Well, for OAuth 2, it's not like that pretty much at all. So to compare this and to give people just kind of an understanding, when you're using an OAuth 2 API, it's very fundamentally different how the tokens are handled. So say for example, with a REST API, we have like an API key, right? And we can always use that. Whereas with a OAuth 2, we have access token and we have refresh token. And then we also have expirations. And so the main difference is here we are, this REST API key doesn't really expire, but this one's expiring. And so how do
Which
we
makes it
handle that?
that's
And
more
it makes it
secure, right?
confusing.
That makes it more
It's
secure. You're
definitely
not
more
just like,
secure. Yep.
yeah, exactly.
And it's a little bit of a process to get to this point too, to be able to retrieve these. It's not like, hey, we go into our account and we go get our token. We don't just
Right.
copy that out of our settings like we can over here.
Right.
This process, and this is typical of any other API, whether it be Discord or Twitter or any API that uses this standard, will have you go and create little micro apps and then request permissions of resources that you want to access. So for example, the difference being like this API key could do absolutely everything. It could do all the different things in this page. Whereas on OAuth 2, you're granting small permissions to it to be able to access certain resources. So if I was here and I'm looking at this page that says scopes, scopes is permissions. It's just another way of saying it. If I wanted to access the ability to do to access contacts, for example, I would have to grant contacts read only if I want to be able to read contacts, and contacts write to be able to create contacts. And what that means is you're literally creating micro apps over here, and I'll explain what this page is in just a second. But you're creating micro apps with smaller permissions, which is more secure. And so what I've done, this process is relatively confusing for a lot of people. But to try to, and I totally understand that. And to break this down, and let me just take rest off of here since this does get a little bit confusing. But essentially, we have a web page that has an authorization
Well, dude,
process, right?
like you said, it's confusing. People don't want to know this, I don't think, right? So like can you just
Yeah,
tell us give us the easy button, like what have you
yeah.
maybe what have you I mean, you can continue if you want, but I don't want people to I know people
Yeah.
might drop off and they're saying, "Hey, this is
Oh,
over my
yeah.
head."
Yeah. And so rather than explaining like all the steps of what it does, but essentially, I'll brush through this, and we get our access tokens, and then we can run our calls.
Uh-huh.
So essentially, this is kind of the thing. We go to a web page, it grants us all the permissions. We have this thing called a marketplace app, and you're welcome to go explore these marketplace.GoHighLevel.com. This is where you actually create the OAuth 2 apps to grant the specific permissions. Um,
Mhm.
and so once you follow through this process of clicking through there and selecting your sub account, then um, it's still not done. There's a lot of procedures to then get
Okay.
the access token to be able to run calls. So
Okay.
the point being this, James, to not confuse people because
Yeah.
it's difficult, and it would take about 30 minutes plus to make a good quality video to explain all these processes.
Okay.
The point being is this: even if you do all this,
Yeah.
even if you go through all these steps, which I do have in a little helper page I'll introduce in here in a second,
Okay.
um, the token will expire. The
Ah.
token will expire in 24 hours. So one of the things that if you're trying to get smart on this and you're trying to just understand it, um, you'll notice expires in. This is on our access token page. It expires in. It has this
Hmm.
weird looking number, but
Which
that means 24 hours.
which is more secure, but it's also more of a
Yeah.
pain to work with, right?
Yeah. And so when it expires, we're having to go and refresh the token to every single 24-hour period. And so how do you refresh the token? Well, then you need a service that sits there and just manages the access and refresh tokens. And what are those services called? Zapier, Make, Pabbly, right? So that's kind of getting to the point here that you need a service that will just sit there and actively refresh the token, go get the new one. And this is totally invisible to the person using the API. Normally, you just click your little puzzle piece on that service, you connect your account, and you never see what's happening behind the scenes. But services like Zapier, Make, and Pabbly are doing all this process for you behind the scenes and processing all those tokens and requests, and so that you can just run your API calls and that's that. But
So
getting back to the original,
yeah, I'm thinking like 99% of the, first of all, I'm thinking like most people, like they do not want to, they don't even want to look at these pages, you know,
yep.
like they want a zap, you know, that just works. And I'm thinking like also, what kind of people, what kind of agencies need this? Because obviously you can run your HighLevel agency, you know, HighLevel does a lot of things well. If you're using the SaaS configurator, it's going to automatically create those accounts and users. So when are people, and how many agencies, what percentage of agencies are going to benefit from like these kinds of advanced functionality?
Yeah, and so predominantly the people that I sell, the apps that I sell. So I sell apps for Zapier, Make, and Pabbly. This is my app. This is createdconnector.com. And what this is literally just hooking up another app, just like you would on Zapier, the same way you would, search for it or whatever.
Go show us in
app.
Zapier. Go show us in
sure.
Zapier where you would like just like any other app, right?
Yeah, it's just like any other app. I make a Zap.
So you create a Zap.
If I wanted to do an action such as,
so they would maybe have done lead connector previous to this, right?
But right. You're saying so lead connectors.
Yeah.
Yeah, Elite Connectors got only a few modules. It's fairly limited.
Let's see.
The platform itself won't add every single API action on there because they may not necessarily need that for their customers. But what this does is it allows you to have a lot more dynamic things in between two different services. So if you're needing to, let's say, not just create notes, but also update and delete them, or create, update, and delete tasks. So it gives you the full create, update, and delete capabilities in here that you just can't do necessarily without having an app like this.
So if you're already using the lead connector app for anything, then this is going to be something that you would want to know about.
Right. It's like a supercharged lead connector app that does 10 times more than that will ever do. Plus a lot of custom things that I've built in to try to help work with things that are deeply nested in the data that are difficult to access. Those were some of the things I thought about when I was building. Like maybe like one example is like the file upload links that are buried deep in the there that you can't access. Like, so you can extract.
What was the one? I remember I had a use case. You made me one. It was like get snapshot ID or something, like, just like.
That's right. Little things like that. Things like that. So there's actually more than one.
Mixing and matching like different things to be able to do things. And so, okay, literally go to Lead Connector and let's compare the two, like just the sheer volume of functionality, right? So what's the event? Let's scroll down a little bit there. Let's see the whole screen.
I was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it.
That's it. Just 5.
I think there's only 5 actions.
And yours has how many? 80 something, or how many? Like 100 now, or how many?
I know Pabbly's got like 80 plus actions. I think Make has 80 plus. I think Zapier is pretty close to that. It would take me a while to count.
You said 10 times. You said 10 times. So they had 5. You literally do have 10 times more functionality than the default one. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, so
everyone and you can also do your own.
Unfortunately, everyone pretty much has to buy this now because who can get by without it? Just tell us how much it costs and where to buy it, and I guess what this is like. What this is you have the same thing for Make. You could show us that real quick, and Pabbly as well. Which
sure, it's all three. So on the Make side of the house, It's fairly similar.
Okay. So they go get
I can
your.
keep my screen a
Okay, so
little
but
bit bright out here.
I can't find this right now. I have to pay for it to you, and then somehow you get me the ability
Yeah,
to get it. Is what you're saying?
that's right. Yeah, these are private apps. These are not published in the app stores.
Private
And
app. It's a
so,
private app.
yep. So this is curated connector here on the make side. As you can see, it's all kind of
Oh,
organized. Here's contacts,
oh.
tags, opportunities.
And this is all with the new.
Pretty much
This is
anything
with
that you would want to do with the sub account.
you did all this with the new way, the OAuth 2 way, the going forward way.
Yeah. So this is all the new OAuth 2 stuff.
Oh my.
And so these are all the sub account level actions that you would want to do, including also the ability to just perform your own API call, which is kind of like what that guy was trying to do. So in
Yeah.
this instance, you want to do a
Yep.
custom one, then it will actually use the new
It'll-
tech with the access tokens.
oh my
It's not the same,
goodness.
but um,
Okay, and
so yeah,
quickly
that's
show me
make.
Pabbly. Quickly show me Pabbly as well.
Sure. Yep.
So
Paddly.
okay, so basically,
Second.
the old API is going away. We have to use the new way. The new way is super complicated. If you're not a techie, I'm kind of a techie, and I just don't want. I don't want to spend hours learning that or doing that. Like, that's not going to move me forward. You know,
Yeah.
like, fooling around with
Yep.
that, and it's going to be 10 times harder for anybody who doesn't know this stuff. And so we're basically either your choices are, like, just deal with what you just use HighLevel by itself, right? Because we don't see any indication that HighLevel is going to be providing this kind of thing, and anytime soon, right? Like updating the lead.
Right.
I mean, when's the last time they updated the lead connector app? Last time I used it, like there wasn't even like the birthday field. Like, it was just missing stuff. I just seems like it's kind of neglected. That's just my
Yeah.
honest opinion.
And those are the things too that and to talk about Pabbly too, like the Pabbly developer team, when they build an app, they build it and then they kind of leave it alone. They don't update it. People will pretty much beg them to try to go and update something, but they're focused on adding more apps to their platform and not necessarily
and
like updating the ones that are there. So
gotcha.
just keep that in mind that if something's broken or not working, then sometimes they'll address that. But this is the difference. Like, for example, I think Pabbly has around 30 action modules, but this has 80.
Oh my.
This is like 80 plus. So it does a lot.
Okay, so this
Same
is
thing,
sounding.
the list goes on and on.
Dude, this is sounding crazy, crazy valuable, and it's also sounding quite expensive to get. Can I just mix and match these? Can I? What if I have guys? If you don't have the Pabbly lifetime deal, I'm not the biggest fan of Pabbly, but if you're going to get the lifetime deal, we'll have a link in the description below. But okay, like, just tell us what's the damage here. Where do they get this?
Yeah, so my site, I make it very straightforward. You have a few different options. You can come in here and you can go one app at a time per sub account. So if I was to example, say Pabbly, you can either purchase my subscription, which is unlimited, and I'll come back to that in a second, or you can just purchase the one sub account. So $50 for the one sub account. So and I even have a limited time option where for 24 hours you can just hook up a million sub accounts if you really so please. But what I try to do is make my subscription very reasonable for what you're getting, because if you come back the next month and want to hook up a single sub account, well, there you go. That's another $50, right? So I thought about that. And I said, well, why don't I just let people hook up Zapier, Make, and Pabbly all for $97 a month, unlimited sub accounts. And so that allows you to hook up not just for your own agency purposes, but if you have a client that has a Zapier account or whatever, this helps future proof that, so that if you need to go in their account and install things and hook up the app, then you can do that. And we've done that in numerous instances where someone needed to run actions that were just not in the Lead Connector modules.
Yep.
Stuff that's just not, and there's quite a few things that are just not in Lead Connector. That they wanted to do that are in the newfangled features that they've come out with. And so every time a new feature comes out or a new API endpoint comes out, I'm going and updating 3 different apps on different platforms. So it's quite a lot of effort and work to do it, but it's worth it.
Yeah. And I've gotten your emails. I'm getting your emails that tell me like these little updates. I could go find one, but guys, so scroll up to the top. So what we're saying here is that Jacob has done all the heavy lifting for you with his team over at Curated Connector, and you're going to get unlimited for unlimited sub accounts. Zapier, Pabbly, and Make.com, the big three players, and it's $97 a month.
Yep, it's $97 a month, and you know you can cancel anytime. It's not a sort of like you know you can hop on the subscription, and if you feel like you're not using it, then you don't use it. You want to buy a couple connections here and there, you use it how you need it. But for the people who stay subscribed,
you said it's month to month. You said it's month to month.
The people, if you anticipate adding 2 sub accounts per month in your agency, then it's a good deal, because then you're not paying the per $50 per. So that's kind of, I kept my pricing at a pretty good price point to do that.
All right. What if I gave you? Hey, what if I gave you $5,000? Would you give me a lifetime deal right now?
I tell you what, James, I will.
For my audience. For your
audience. Yeah, I think so. In fact, you know, what's interesting, I also include some stuff that you will not see elsewhere with the subscription, where you can get access to some of these other bonus apps like Cloudflare.
Okay.
So for example, on Make, you can do all kinds of stuff on Cloudflare, but you can't do it on Zapier. So there's no Cloudflare app over there to be able to do all the stuff that you need as an agency owner to create subdomains and manage all those settings. So this is just one bonus app that comes with it, in addition to some really cool ones I built too. So the ones we talked about today, James, were all like sub account tools, like specific to the sub accounts. But I also have apps for the agency level actions. So this gets back to the original thing that the guy was talking about, that, hey, how do I edit user permissions or whatever? Well, I also have an admin app that does a whole bunch of stuff. And that's part of it. You know, we had
so you're telling me there's an entire different app for the agencies because they have different permissions.
Yeah. So we have a version 1 and a version 2.
Let's look at it.
And so version 1 right now has almost all the actions that you could want to do.
Yep.
Like creating the accounts, creating users, and doing some pretty custom stuff too that me and James had previously developed. That is just not, it's not an actual endpoint. It's actually custom coded stuff to be able to do things that would be challenging to do with Zapier, like modules of like parsing through all the stuff to try to hunt for data. I'm trying to make easy peasy things to make it just a quickie. So for example, if you just say get snapshot by name, and you want to search for that, then you can search for a snapshot by name. That's just one example.
Love it, dude. I love it. Okay, so quick wrap up. We're moving to OAuth 2. It's complicated. The version 1 stuff, it's going away eventually. You know, everyone loves Zapier, all of us agency owners, because it's like easy on the brain, you know, but lets us do some cool stuff that we don't have to hire coders for, right? And so, I mean, you would pay $97 an hour for a coder to even, you know what I mean? So like $97 a month to get access to all 3 of these apps, plus his Cloudflare thing, plus the admin app. Like it's kind of a no-brainer if it's, you know, if you're, you know, going high level and you're going hard and you know, you've got some clients and you know that you need this. Definitely go visit curatedconnector.com. Is that where they get a hold of you?
Yeah, if it's a play off the lead connector name. Don't sue me, Sean. Curatedconnector.com. No, he won't sue me. He's a good dude. Yeah, so curatedconnector.com.
Do you have any kind of free is there any kind of free trial? Sorry to. There we go. Is there any kind of free trial to check it out, or
jumping around? There we go. Well, I mean, you know, for my thing is because it's a software subscription, I don't have free trials.
Right, you just
on this
pay for a month and try.
You know, yeah, but if anybody wants to hop on, if you need a demo or just you're needing to know if it does something specific, they're welcome to DM me, or you know, I'll watch the comments in your video, James, to just see if anybody has specific questions and just, you know, see if it addresses their use case.
Love it, dude. That's a huge value, and I know about, from banging my head of years against code, like that you've done a lot of crazy you've done a lot of crazy work on the back end to pull this off. Dude, you want to just show them real quick how you made that new Zap, like the code. Like I remember we used we went into the back end of Zapier Like let's just give them a
Yeah.
sense, giving them a sense for
I
what it
mean,
takes to pull this off.
so to give people just like if you're kind of watching for the technical side of things,
Or just to appreciate
in
what this takes to pull off is what I'm thinking. Okay, so you're
yeah, I mean,
now going to the
this is like
back
an older
end.
app.
You're going back to the back end of Zapier as a developer now.
Yeah.
Just I don't want to overwhelm. I just want to like show them like just kind of behind the
So all of
scenes.
these, if you were to build your own, which I know some people would be tempted to do that, um,
Not me.
everything, every drop down menu, every single thing, it's not just like you build drop down menus and you're good to go. If we're using like the specific example of, let's
Like
say,
that.
get snapshot
Yeah,
by name, that was the
yeah,
one we
yeah.
invented, right?
Yeah, we invented a
Um,
new thing
you
here.
know, it has a cute little like input designer. We have little like drop down menus and stuff like that. But then the problem is you got to turn around and actually write code. Like
Yeah.
this is
Oh
real
my
code to
goodness.
do this. I'm sitting here showing it. It's not like people can't invent the same thing. But this is like a real code window to sit here and like generate the response that you're looking for,
Yeah.
because you're actually processing the result of the API and trying to return it in the format that Zapier wants it.
Yeah.
So,
Dude,
you would have to have actual developer knowledge to be able to build these apps
absolutely.
on the back end, which goes to the point that it's not just copy paste like people are used to from the API docs. I can't just go
Yeah.
over here and copy this sucker right here and then go to the Zapier custom HTTP module and do that. It just doesn't work like that. Like
Yep.
you have to actually generate the tokens, and then Zapier has to actually manage them on the back end. They actually have to manage those access or refresh tokens for you.
Okay.
Um,
Dude,
whereas your API key lives forever. So
I'm sold. I'm sold. Take me back to the curated connector, guys. One last time, go visit curatedconnector.com. I can't imagine that you'll be keeping the price this low for this long. So do you
no,
recommend
I
people
mean,
I mean, right? Like
and especially some of the crazy things I've done, like 24-hour deals and stuff like that. I'm just trying to get people on there using them, appreciating them, and sharing them. I do have an affiliate program too that I want to push to. So if you do sign up, I give you links
shit.
and how to sign up to be an affiliate if you want to try to get other agencies to sign up.
Love it.
But yeah, I appreciate you, James, for helping me
Well,
share the
yeah.
app. I've been kind of working very quietly behind the scenes on it. I put one post about the Zapier, and I haven't actually shared that I have Make and Pably on there in the public group. So that I appreciate you having me on to kind of explain what this is.
Ah, man, no, you've done the work, and now we just need to kind of spread the word. You guys go to curatedconnector.com. That's curatedconnector.com, and jump on this deal before he raises the price. Is my thought, because it's definitely. Oh, hey, look, that was not planned, dude. That was not planned.
That was not planned. That was not
Okay,
planned.
let's give a quick shout out to is it Pat Friedel, right, with the FOMO app? You saw that little app there,
Yeah, hey, yeah. If you're
Pat.
seeing this little banner pop up,
Yeah,
get FOMO. If you want to click on that, that actually takes you over to who built this thing right here. This is
yeah.
actually hooked into my sub account. So the people that have access, whether it's free or paid, on my app, some of
I
the people that
got.
got, um,
I have the same. I have the same
will it
one.
will show up there. Yeah,
I have the same one on Bounty Hunters. You'll see here on the lower left. That's a great little thing just to kind of that
great
interaction, right?
advertisement for Pat. So I appreciate Pat
Yeah,
for helping me hook that up on my site.
yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty
There's
cool.
mine as well on the left. Okay, guys. With that being said, thanks so much for tuning in. That's what you need to know about getting off of version 1 API. Go to curatedconnector.com. That's curatedconnector.com. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you in the next video.
Thanks, James.
Bye. Hope you enjoyed the show. Advice given is for educational purposes only and may not be applicable to your business. You should know that the Marketing Show receives compensation through its affiliate relationship for the products and services it recommends. Thank you for your support, and we hope to see you on the next episode of The Marketing Show.